Ryan,
Tony, and Crystal.
We can't guarantee that you're gonna look great, but if you wanna stay in shape, well, you better hit the GymWits.
That's right, man. Welcome to the GymWits podcast. I'm Ryan George.
I'm Justin Guild, aka Chef Sonic.
And I'm Tony Marinucci, aka Tips with Tony, a registered dietitian.
And we are the GymWits. So how have you guys been?
Not bad, not bad. I'm currently down in Atlantic City. I came down here to do a little online gambling. It's been going. Actually, it's been awful so far. Not necessarily. Well, I ran into some really bad luck mathematically yesterday. Like there was a lot of situations where I had heavy odds to win, really heavy odds, and I lost. But that's not actually the issue, because I really didn't lose very much money, but more the technical issues. They work on geolocation. So they have the gambling sites have geolocators to make sure that you're located in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, wherever the state is legal that you're trying to do online gambling. And I have the most standard Xfinity Wi-Fi. It's clear as, it's strong Wi-Fi signals. The people around me are, because that's how they do it. They triangulate your location by looking at other people's Wi-Fi and then your Wi-Fi. And for whatever reason, the software was just not, multiple software programs, because there's more than one, was just not seeing my location. I was like, sorry. So I've was working on this all day and trying to get in contact with their tech support. And that was a real pain in the behind, because there's no one available. It was just really annoying. Yeah. And, a little bit of first world problems, but whatever. That's what I came down here for. And you wanted it to work. And so finally, I just, in one settings, instead of changing the Wi-Fi on my airport, I went into my settings and turned it on and off. And for whatever reason, that snapped it into shape. And it started working from there. And it was just so bizarre. Man, there's going to come a time when the Terminators are going to take over and we are doomed. Just going to have Judgment Day style. We are done. So maybe not in our lifetime, but you think this coronavirus is bad, wait till the machines take over. We are done zones.
Oh my gosh. I'm already not into gambling. I'll do it for fun, but I would not gamble. I think one time I gambled $100 and I played with that and I had anxiety the whole time.
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing that right now when things are so uncertain.
Yeah. I don't really,
but it's fun. It's different.
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah.
I don't straight gamble. I don't play games like roulette, which is just completely games of chance. Or maybe I will, but $25 or $40 at most I'll play. But I play online poker or live poker, which is a skilled game. So while there is a large element of gambling in it, you could lose your shirt with it if you're crazy and you just want to gamble. But the stakes I play and what I play, I've never lost a lot of money, and I usually win a little something or a lot of something. So I've come out ahead.
That's good.
But it's more for fun and to make a few dollars, which I usually do. But yeah, I know I'm with you with gambling, especially now. It's like everything's a gamble, so we need to just add one more gamble onto the list.
Speaking of poker, I watched a good. Have you ever seen Molly's Game?
Yes.
It's pretty good. It was just kind of coincidence.
Movie.
I watched it a couple days ago. Apparently, it's based on a true story.
Yeah, whenever poker is portrayed in movies, like with anything else, it is so over dramatized.
Yeah,
poker, like most other things, is actually very boring. It's kind of like baseball or even mixed martial arts, where you'll have, not everything, occasionally you get games that are slugfest with people just going at each other, but most of it are lulls, with not much going on, and then bits of crazy action, back to lulls, right? Lulls, long lulls, action lulls. So that's actually most things in general, except for movies. Movies can't do that because
although I feel like that in that movie it was less about the poker and about the kind of organizing the games and about this person who kind of built
that was true,
her own little thing and then lost it. And
Yeah, that was true.
So it
That
must
was
be
more
like,
about her story. So it's not as
yeah.
quite about it, but
No, because I agree. Like, I think you for a lot of sports and games, you have to kind of be to really and the problem is though, if it has to be kind of dumbed down and dramatized to make it interesting on TV, but then by doing that, you're gonna annoy the hardcores who know the nuances and know the little things and will get annoyed by stuff like that.
You know what, I've gotten into watching those videos where they interview someone who is a professional in the field who talks about what they do when it's portrayed in a movie. Like they'll
Mhm.
talk to the professional. There's a few who were they talking to?
But I saw one with like a military
Stephen
guy
Thompson,
who
yeah, about karate scenes or MMA scenes, and Brian Ortega about fighting. Like they talk to them, and they talk to the military, like a Marine or a
yeah.
Navy SEAL about how Navy SEALs are portrayed, a paratrooper, like just all these different things. It's kind of cool to get their take on it. In the reality of what they see. They
Yeah.
say a lot of times things are accurate in the movies, but bits and pieces. Like they'll get
Yeah.
Most
one
things
bit,
are not, yeah, not the whole picture, just
the whole
little
picture
parts.
isn't right.
Yeah.
They'll get bits
Yeah.
right so that it's somewhat accurate, but the way that it happens is never like it actually happens in real life. But
Yeah.
come on, I think everyone expects that. It's a movie, so
Yeah.
you don't want it to be realistic,
Well, it depends. If it's following kind of real life, yeah, you kind of want it to be, obviously, but it depends. If it's like it's a historical situation,
Yeah,
or is it, it's like, is it a Fast and the Furious movie where they're,
yeah, yeah.
so actually I can't really talk crap about it because I don't think I've ever seen one, but yeah, it's kind of like what's the world, and then you can kind of.
I think someone, when they were talking to different soldiers, I think they said one of the movies that is the most accurate to what real like war is like is the movie Saving Private Ryan. Like I've heard a lot of people say that is actually, it's very accurate to what, like I don't know personally, but and it's been a while since I've seen the movie, but I just remember people saying that it was a good portrayal of what, and granted it is a movie, but in general that was pretty accurate to what goes on. So I just remember
It's
hearing
good.
that.
It's a classic, so that's good to
Yeah.
know. Lots of people probably seen that.
Cool.
So
What have you been up to, Ryan?
Not
How's
much,
the
but
dog?
the dog's doing well. She's not going crazy right now. It Not much. I mean, my so I guess a casualty of the coronavirus, the pandemic, is my Muay Thai gym closed for good,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
is
for
tough
good.
because like the it's kind of been a staple in the community. My head coach is one of the greatest fighters of all time, and I think there was an issue where the landlord was basic. I mean, which it's like I think it's dumb of any city to not have like a moratorium on rents while this is going on is insane. Because I mean,
Yeah.
something crazy like a third of Americans have skipped paying rent or mortgage, and it's like, yeah, okay, so that you can't get evicted until August, in which case there's going to be mass evictions. Like none of that makes sense. So the fact that like people can't work but they still have to pay the rent when we live in an
Right.
economy where most people can't afford a month without income, or let alone 2-3 months, is insane. So it's a situation where the landlord was like, I mean, even my landlord, which has been, they've been nice throughout. Like they'll send an email out to us every month, like, here's some access to information, blah blah blah. We still got to pay our bills, so you guys got to pay us, and it's kind of done a little more, kind of written more diplomatically, but effectively it's kind of like, we better get our rent on the first. And it's like, I'm in a good position where I can pay it, but I'm sure there are people here who can't. And we actually had a couple people in the building who moved out, and I don't know if it was just timing or if like they were just like, yeah, screw this, I'm not going to deal with it. But I guess to go back to what I was talking about, so the landlord was not giving it all with rent. And I mean, I don't know how much it was, but I feel like it was in the neighborhood of 20 grand a month. And for a small business in New York, it's hard to swallow that multiple months in a row. So they ended up shuttering the doors for good. Apparently they handed back the lease. People had like a few days to go pick up all their equipment. And it was just unfortunate.
Sad. I'm sorry. That's
Yeah.
rough. It's rough. And unfortunately, it's just the beginning to a lot of businesses not
Yeah.
getting through this.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I can't. I mean, there are tons of places that just it's devastating, and
Yeah.
kind of have a crappy, fairly crappy response from our
Yeah.
government to all
And no, it really
as
is,
far
because
as
think
helping
about,
people.
seriously though, because you think about so it's not even like, yeah, they don't evict you and you don't even have to pay, but then you owe then
Yeah,
you owe it. It's not like
exactly.
you're like free from paying, or you get like, you literally will now have to pay like triple,
Yeah,
quadruple that by the time we're out of this. So it's
yeah,
just, it's kind of silly. Like, I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, no, it's like there should have been, a better response in that way, because it's like, yeah, people. I mean, the $1,200 that some people got, uh, is not going to be much,
And
if you're,
yeah.
if you're still got to pay that towards like rent for multiple months and bills
Mhm.
and just all kind of.
Mm.
Yep. Yep.
Oh man. All right.
But at least New York seems to be heading trending downward as far as the number of people getting infected. So it looks
Yeah.
like they're probably going to start to open the city back up, around the 15th and towards June. And it's still like scary because like I think the rest of the country, the numbers are starting to go up because
Sure.
yeah,
Well, that's the problem. When we do unpause, then
yeah,
more people are going to get infected, and then it's gonna. Yeah, they have to come
yeah,
up with a better strategy. I don't
yeah.
know how, but
It's kind of one of those like you can't really put the toothpaste back, at this point. Like I think we needed a response. We needed a better. Obviously, we needed a better response right off the bat. And you look at the countries that did respond quickly, that are doing well. But I think it's such a. I mean, there's so many people in this country and so many people that are infected that yeah, it's like we're gonna get the second wave and a third wave. I just don't know how we aren't I don't know how we don't get it unless like you just shut down like nobody can come in and out of the city, of New York City or New York State. Like if you're just like, yeah, no
for
one's
like
coming in
2
or out.
weeks, yeah.
Yeah, or even longer. It's like because you think about it, like the numbers are going to go up around the country where, in other places. And if they start coming back into New York or traveling, then it's just going to reseed it. And
Mm.
so I don't know. I don't know what we do about
Well,
it.
that's the thing. It's not, I don't think that it's going to really ever be over. I think
Yeah.
that our lives are going to be forever changed, and not just because of what we've experienced, but then going forward, there's going to be laws. And like, I'm looking outside my window right now, actually, the line for my grocery store. Wow.
Yeah.
It's long today, and that's probably not going to go away.
Yeah.
That the standing 6 feet apart, waiting online, having to wear
Yeah.
masks, like gloves, all of those things, that probably isn't going to change maybe ever. And then if ever, then not till the end, not till like next year, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
so
until there's a vaccine and
yeah.
this thing
Right.
is
Or yeah, or something like that.
yeah.
Right. Exactly. Like until there's a vaccine, I don't think. And even so though, think about it, how many times they come out with the new flu vaccine.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the thing is because they don't really know. There's so much up in the air about this
Yeah.
that we don't know. Is it going to be like the flu where you need a new vaccine every year? How long is the vaccine going to work? Can they,
Right.
is it going to be like, you get it once and you never have to get it again, or you have to get it every 10 years or,
Right.
yeah. So there are all these questions and all these things up in the air, about it that, yeah, we really, really don't
Well,
know.
and it brings an interesting question. And the GymWits usually tries to stay out of politics, but I think that one semi-political, even though it's really more scientific than it is political, there is a political element to it, and it's the efficacy of vaccines and just the
Mm.
whole dogma around it and people not wanting to. I think Ryan and I and Tony, I think you two, tell me if I'm wrong, been pretty vocal that we are very, very pro-vaccine, and in fact we think that people who don't take vaccines are actually endangering the rest of us. So now here comes the question. If a vaccine does come out and you have people that are like, oh, well, it's big pharma again. They're
Yeah.
profiting off of us. They're making, how do we know we trust it? Blah, 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 blah.
Well,
Especially if there are the testing routes that are standard, and it says this is a safe vaccine, for the most part, right? And this will help cure this, or help prevent this virus. Now, how many people are going to come out and say, well, I'm not taking it, which
Well-
wind up endangering the people that actually cannot take the vaccine
Yeah.
for whatever whatever their reasons are.
Yeah, I mean that's all. You're always gonna have that, and I think a lot of those people now, like, because I have the pleasure of having a couple Facebook friends who are anti-vaxxers or on that line, and they're kind of saying all this stuff about herd immunity and the government, and of course and obviously a lot of them kind of fall into also like the conspiracy theorist realm, but like that this is really just the government trying to control us, and even going as far as like saying we shouldn't be wearing masks, and why and like why are people wearing masks driving alone in a car, and like somebody actually posted that, like, wow, those people are idiots that are driving in a car. And it's like, well, if I get in a car with my mask on and I get out of the car, if I've touched something, I don't want to touch my face, so I keep the mask on until I get home and I can wash my hands. It's like so it's like I don't get it, but yeah, you're gonna get those people, and hopefully it's a small enough number, and I do think that there are a lot of people who were anti-vaxxers who really want a vaccine for this. So there are some on that line too who've kind of maybe come a little bit to their senses. But you're always gonna have that. I mean, we're always gonna have those people that are gonna want, that are not going to, that are feel like it's okay to endanger other people because, or not even that they feel like it's okay, but they just don't believe that the vaccines work. Or
right. It's not intentional. It's just their views. You're never going to get everyone to agree on one thing. And there's always going to be people that, adhere to what you have to say and then don't.
And I mean, it's a lot of them. It's a lot of the same people who kind of like are against 5G and think that somehow 5G is causing this, and the kind of conspiracy thinking. And so it's tough, and it's tough to get through to those people, as I've tried, and I've had conversations, and it's a challenge, but hopefully, well, I would say hopefully this has really knocked some sense into people, but it really hasn't. I mean, especially if you live in New York, because I think there's some parts of the country where it hasn't hit hard, so the hospitals are at low are low kind of capacity, and they don't see it. But we're in New York, like you can see it. You walk by, walk by my local hospital, and there are like literal truckloads of bodies. Just like they kind of dedicated the parking lot to putting kind of refrigerated trailers. Like the bodies are there. And so it's kind of weird that people that live here don't realize, it's bad, and I don't know.
When it sounds too good to be true, when you're really not sure just what you should do, look around, chances are you're on BS Corner. That's Bull Corner.
All right, so I want you guys to pick this thing up. It to me, it falls under the BS Corner category. It's called the Simply Fit board. Do you guys want to take a look at that right now?
I'm gonna Google it.
Could also, they have ads on YouTube as well for it.
Simply Fit board.
Yeah.
Simply Fit board. Oh, I see it. Okay.
Look at some of the videos for it.
I'm looking at the images.
Giving us homework.
Yeah, guys, we're just experiencing this now. By the way.
No, that's the whole point. I want you guys to see it right.
Well, I mean, but like, I don't need to know much to know. Like,
you don't need to know much.
Simply Fit board.
Yes. So you can look at one of the videos.
Buy one.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, the videos. These are those things that you see on the infographics.
I'm
not infographics. Infomercials.
Yeah, infomercials, but they advertise them a lot online too. So,
okay.
Should I play the video?
I'm looking at it.
You can hear it.
All right. So what? Okay.
It's just the claims that are made. The typical.
Right, what are the claims?
You lose weight, get abs, lose fat, like get a strong core. Like it's basically a thing where you shimmy back and where you like twerk. It's like but like not even as, it's probably not even as good of an exercise as twerking. Right, so it's just like this thing where you like shimmy back and forth. It's like
a swivel board.
It's just I mean, look, could this thing be right? All right. First off, putting all those claims of losing fat and getting abs,
nothing will just strengthen your core. Maybe
like is this a decent exercise? Could this be a just putting it aside, as part of a regular exercise routine, is this even an effective exercise, Ryan?
It depends on what your that's the problem. It's like it depends on what your definition of effective is.
Is it efficient? Is it time efficient? Like if you're like,
okay, if I was training, if somebody wanted to lose weight,
Nope.
it's probably not going to help you get your heart rate up.
Nope.
But I mean, okay, features and benefits. Okay, easy and fun to use. All right, I could see, it looks easy enough. It might be fun for someone. Lightweight and portable, looks like that. Supports up to 400 pounds. I'll take them on at their word on that they've done enough testing that it supports that. Stores away easily. All right. Okay, so this one targets muffin tops and bellies. So you can't really fat reduce. Now it's working in the kind of transverse plane, which is that kind of rotational plane, and it is working the trunk. It is something that is utilizing the trunk to kind of produce the movement to stabilize. So in that way it's working. It's so it's working that area, but it's really you're not going to target the fat there. Tones abs, legs, and entire core. Again, we've gone over how toning is really a buzzword and doesn't really mean anything, and it is working the abs, legs, and core.
Even if by toning they just mean your work, like now it just means working the muscles, or like helping.
So improves balance. Yeah, sure, definitely. You have to keep yourself balanced while moving that and rotating. So it gets that. So, I mean, would I recommend this to most people? Probably not. It might be like a useful little thing to have in your apartment if you want to, look, if I have a client that's older, maybe stuck in home, especially during this time, during the pandemic, and wants something to kind of keep themselves moving and active, that's actually not a bad thing. It does help. It looks like it's not dangerous, so it's not such an incline that you're gonna fall over. Looks like it's pretty easy to get on. It does help you with balance. It allows you to kind of move dynamically while trying to stay balanced. I'd probably get bored of that movement pretty quickly. But no reason why, I wouldn't. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give my thumb down to this being BS. I think so. I think again, I'm not recommending
the claims that they're making.
I disagree.
Look, if the claims were like, their claims were like, stay active in a low impact setting, or just do a little exercise. Tones your muscles, it targets the trunk. Like, and if you actually watch the video, it's like, but look at what it's showing. It's showing fit people, like, and it's implying that you're going to look like the people in the commercial if you do this dumb exercise where you like shimmy back and forth on a board.
I'm not getting that from it, though. Like,
so I wouldn't call it dumb. I would call it.
Okay, it's not dumb. It's just
but honestly, like, we know that there's a lot more that requires you to help to lose your weight, right? We're actually going to talk. It's actually a good segue to our topic today, but like, all of those claims are not possible if you just do that, and I think that's what Justin's getting at.
So
like, you can't, you literally, that can't be the only thing you do and it's magic. And unfortunately, that's how people read it and see it.
So I'm gonna disagree with you guys, because I don't like. Okay, I look like we start from a point of thing.
I love when we disagree. People love
any reasonable person.
And I'm usually not on Justin's side. I feel like Ryan and Ryan, you do usually go against each other, actually.
So any reasonable, I don't want to say any reasonable person, but we've all been exposed to enough marketing, especially when it comes to fitness, to be a little skeptical. Like, nobody's going to take anybody on their claim. Okay, yes. Okay, so we all approach it with some bit of skepticism. We should, right? And I think most people do. So that's my starting position. So when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at what are the claims. So the claims here, again, it says easy and fun to use, lightweight and portable, supports up to 400 pounds, stores away easy. Those four seem pretty straightforward. You
didn't watch the commercial, did you?
Okay. Targets muffin tops and bellies, tones legs, abs, and core. So those are two that are kind of BS, but like, at the end of the day, they're not lying. It's not saying, okay. And what I've seen so far is I've not seen anything that says this is the only workout you should do.
But
and
no,
that this is going to help you lose like tons and tons of weight. So did the video say that? Does the video say like you're going to lose tons of weight, or it's the only workout?
No, but but you can't say that. Like nothing.
Okay,
I mean, very few things. There are actually some exercises that say that, but you have to look just a little, a smidge deeper and look at the implication that it is.
There's no implications. Like
if you look at the video, the implication is if you do this exercise on the Simply Fit board, you will look like the models in the commercial.
Is that really? Do you really? It's okay.
That's always what it is.
Does it say for how long you have to do it? Because that's another thing that bothers me. Just 5 minutes a day, and then you could lose all your weight.
I think that the commercial does say that, actually.
All right, let's see. How long is this video? All right, I'm gonna look at. Okay, we're gonna pause this. All right.
No, let people hear it. Let people hear it. See, if it might not be great sound quality, but they could probably hear the advertisement.
And if they have like the.
Tired of trying to hide your belly bulge, muffin top, or that beer gut? Now there's a fun, effective.
All right, fine. That start is not good. Yeah.
It's got everyone twisting and getting you into your fat burning zone.
It's so fun. I don't feel like I'm working out. I'm Lori Grenier from Shark Tank. I like being toned, but I'm not
from Shark Tank.
Out sweating. That's why I fell in love with the Simply Fit board. The minute I saw it, I knew it was a hero, and I did the deal so we could bring it to all of you.
You'll feel it working instantly. The secret is its unique twisting motion and balance board pivoting action that engages your entire core, helping tone abs, legs, and your entire body, all while having fun. You can get started with as little as 5 minutes a day. Do it anytime, anywhere. Do it while watching TV. This is a great workout for everyone, no matter your age.
It's low impact and easy on the joints. And look at me, I'm 64 and in better shape than I've been in years.
I love feeling my muscles working because it feels like I'm working and I'm just burning fat away, and who doesn't want to burn fat away?
The Simply Fit board can help trim your waistline, engage
You can't trim your waistline.
Oh, you could. I'm enjoying watching the transformation of Ryan's opinion right before my eyes.
All right, fine. The commercial's not great. I'm not gonna say it's completely BS, but like they lost me more on the commercial because
Look, at the end of the day, it's just not sexy to come out and say, "Oh, this is a fun exercise that helps you stay that's great for older people to stay active with, just to get you body moving." Like, and if that was the ad, that would be totally fine. It's like stay active with low impact activity, low impact exercise in your later years, right? No one's going to advertise that. You need to advertise fat loss, toning, stuff like that. So that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, all right. So I'm not gonna give it full BS, but I think the piece of equipment itself has a function and use that I think could be beneficial for people. However, especially in that video, like it's not a standalone piece of equipment. B, it's not doing much for your belly, muffin top or belly, and minimal. I mean, it is working the core, but at some point there are far more effective things to do. So I think it is not completely BS, but it's definitely not the marketing is not great.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So you get me halfway on that.
All right. So maybe we should tell our listeners more effective ways if they did want to lose weight, although we can't there's no such thing as spot reducing. So we can't quote unquote teach you how to lose your muffin top, which I don't even like that verbiage.
Spot reducing. You could get it sucked out, right?
Oh, stop it.
Do surgery.
Yeah. So the main topic is going to be like best exercises and foods for weight loss. So we're gonna, it's a weird, kind of what's the I'm not thinking of the word right now, but it's attention grabbing while my brain is not thinking about the right language to use right now. So obviously I think Tony's gonna have a lot better information when it comes to fat loss. Because you really can't out exercise, or outrun a bad diet. So I think right off the bat, you just kind of start from a place where the diet's still going to be, the more, effective thing as far as losing it, and again, exercise is just as important, but you still need, the diet's going to be the thing that's going to, help it drop faster. So when it comes to exercise and fat loss, you got to think of you almost think of there are kind of three different things or three modalities you can think of. And again, there's a lot more and it gets more complicated, but you want to think about your steady state cardio. So that would be I'm going to go for a run for 20, 30 minutes. The idea being that it's, low to moderate intensity activity where you kind of get up your heart rate up to a certain number and you sustain that for an extended period of time. So that might be, I'm going to go for a run for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour. But I'm trying to keeping my heart rate, my intensity level, the output relatively the same. You've got strength training. So when you say strength, we're going to think about just traditional strength training. You're doing, whatever resistance, 8 to 12 repetitions, maybe, you can even do supersets, things like that. But, kind of traditional strength training. So where you're building muscle. And then we're looking at high intensity interval training. So things where you're doing, hot, almost maximal intensity, work. For short bursts with some kind of a rest in between. And again, that varies as well, because it could be, a situation where you're doing high intensity and then longer rest, or high intensity and very short rest, but kind of just the idea that you're doing really maximal, bursts of energy, followed by some kind of a rest, followed by another maximal effort. So, steady state cardio obviously is going to probably burn more calories in the moment. But so you burn more calories in the moment because you're doing something for an extended period. So let's say if I go for a run for an hour, you might burn 600 calories, and just throwing out a number like that. But it's kind of like your, kind of slow and steady wins the race in that way. And that in the moment you're burning a lot of calories. And then once you stop, your heart rate returns back to normal. You stop, pretty quickly. So the benefits there obviously is it's a little bit easier in some ways, depending on your condition. It's not as kind of hard as long as you can manage, the boredom. Like for me, I hate steady state cardio because I just get bored. So but some of the negatives are it doesn't do a lot for building muscle. And so, and that's where the benefit of resistance training, comes into play. So we don't think about weight training as something to lose fat, but it does kind of long term. It helps because basically, your basal metabolic rate, which is kind of the how many calories you burn at rest. A large part of that number is influenced by how much muscle you have. So the more muscle you have, the higher the basal metabolic rate. So the more muscle you have, the more fat you burn at rest. So just without doing anything. So weight training short term isn't going to burn all that many calories. But it doesn't really matter because again, if I could burn 2,000 calories in a workout, and if I go eat a 3,000 calorie meal, I've offset that as far as weight loss is concerned. So weight training won't burn as much in the moment, but it has the side benefit of increasing your muscle mass. So that means that over time, if I gain 5 pounds of muscle, I'm going to be burning that many more calories at rest day to day. So it won't have that short-term effect, but it will have a longer-term effect over time. Again, you'll burn more at rest. And then you have the high-intensity interval training. So some of the benefits of the high-intensity interval training, and there's a lot of research, and so some of it's kind of we're just getting just kind of learning more about it, but some of it shows that number one, it's effective if you don't have a lot of time. So it will help with improving your VO2 max, which is your kind of how many your ability to extract oxygen basically from the blood. And so the benefit of high intensity interval training is it has some of the benefits of strength training where you're also even after the bout of exercise, your heart rate stays up, and the rate that you're kind of burning calories seems to be a little bit higher after. So you're burning more after the workout as opposed to a steady state cardio. Depending on the style of high intensity interval training, you can approach the amount of calories that you burn with a steady state cardio workout in a much shorter time. So where a steady state workout may take you 20, 30, 40, an hour plus, a high intensity workout could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And you can approach the amount of calories. So you're both making yourself a little bit more fit, um, and you're also burning similar amount of calories in a shorter period of time. The challenge with the high intensity interval training, though, is that it is very hard. It's taxing mentally. So if it's something you're not used to, or if you don't like exercise, or if you have kind of a low tolerance for the pain, it might not be the best thing for you, because it does take a lot of effort. It does take, you're pushing yourself maximally, and so it's not necessarily for everyone.
But but here's the thing. With that, like running for me takes more effort, because after 20 minutes, even though maybe it's not physically as difficult, mentally it's more difficult because I
Yeah,
get bored.
but
So I for me mentally, I prefer the interval, the intense intervals, because it keeps me more engaged. So
yeah,
that, it's, always a different strokes. But yes, physically it is very demanding to do that, and not everyone can do it too, depending on your health, or if you have certain injuries and things like that, or you're at a certain age where you're actually not supposed to do that, depending on what your doctor says. um so yeah, but personally for me, I enjoy it just because I
yeah,
can't run for
yeah.
more than 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, no, so that's part of, big thing is a little bit you have to take into your own personal how you deal with it. So, if you love weightlifting and you hate cardio, then maybe, focus more, the weightlifting is fine for weight loss, as long as, again, your diet is good. You might want to include some cardio. So, like, for me, I don't like, I would do weightlifting and high intensity interval training, because you can get a lot out of the way. But there's some people who love running. But even if you love running, you still need to lift weights, because, again, if there's no frame or muscle, you're only going to build so much muscle from doing, straight up running. And so, there's a lot of research out there now that, even runners can benefit significantly from some weight training or some cross training. So it's not, so you do want to incorporate it in some way. And so I think for anybody, some combination of the three is useful. And the only thing I'll talk about with each is some of the so for cardio, what are some of the more effective ways, what modalities kind of allow you to lose, to burn more calories. And so obviously running is a big one, and a fairly easy one. Jumping rope is a great way. Doing something like kickboxing or boxing is a great way. That kind of straddles that line between steady state and interval training, because you're, stop start with rest in between. So um, that's great. Cycling can be really good. Stairs is a great way, but not many people can do stairs, steady state. But stairs is a great way to get your heart rate up and get cardio in. Circuit training is a really good thing too. You can take 10 exercises. Like, what I like to do is take 10 exercises, and then you can vary it. So, like, you could do, like, maybe a cardio exercise followed by a strength, followed by cardio, followed by strength. Yeah, I do 10 exercises with a minute and then 15 seconds in between. Swimming is a great way to get cardio. So these are all really effective ways to, do cardio that will help you burn calories.
And as we know, we can also do cardio with weights.
Yeah, sure. But it has to be lower weight. So,
Lower weights.
as if you're
style.
working endurance, then the weights have to be lower. And then speaking of weights, so one other thing, if you're weightlifting, especially if the focus is like weight loss, you want to focus more on whole body movements versus doing, like, single, kind of linear moves. So, like, let's say like a bicep curl, which is, standard for almost everybody. That's not the most effective move in the world, especially if the goal is weight loss, only because, like, you're doing one thing, so you're not really working the kind of neuromuscular system all that much, because it's a straight move that your body knows how to do. So there's not much going on. The brain's not having to work. Connective tissue's not having to work. You're kind of just doing one thing over and over. So you want to do moves that kind of work multiple joints. If you're more advanced, do moves that work multiple joints and multiple planes of motion, so that you're, twisting and turning and shifting, and so that you make it as dynamic as possible. And that, again, the body has to work harder to do those moves, thus you're burning more doing each move. And again, like, those are just great moves. I'm reluctant to talk about, doing a lot of, like, exercise for fat loss, or weight loss, because, again, it's really comes down to diet. And you don't want to get bogged down on doing it, because, it's better because it has a benefit for your body, functionally, than it benefiting you for weight loss, because, again, you're not going to be able to outrun or outlift a bad diet. But I'd say those are some tips when you further exercise, when it comes to weight loss or fat loss. But Tony, you'll have a lot better information, for on the nutrition side.
Yeah, but definitely that was good. And you already kind of mentioned, which is true, that in order for you to lose weight, you have to be in a caloric deficit. So that's number one. All of these fad diets and things that you see of this person losing this much weight and that much weight, the all common denominator is that they ate less calories than their body actually burned. And they did that consistently over time. So what I advise is you need to eat less than your body burns. Some people count calories, other people can just go by your hunger cues. So, but the point being is we don't want to be in an extreme caloric deficit because, like I said earlier, it has to be based off of consistency. So, very, very low calorie diet. So, for example, 1,200 calories for females or 1,500 calories or less for males. Anything lower than that, not only are you going to miss out on like your overall health and getting enough nutrient dense foods like micronutrients and stuff like that, but chances are you're going to have extreme bouts of hunger. And it's going to be really, really difficult to adhere to. And then therefore you're going to stop doing it. And then not only do you end up gaining the weight back, but you end up gaining the weight back and some. It's what we call metabolic adaptation. So when you are at a lower weight, your body requires less calories at rest. So when you lose the weight, your metabolism slows down. Now, when you gain that weight back, our bodies still think we're at that lower weight. And so that's why people have such a difficult time losing weight, especially as they get older or if they are yo-yo dieters. And that's why it's so difficult to lose weight. There's ways to fix that, but that's for another day. But point being is that, yes, you want to be in a caloric deficit. So you want to take in less calories than your body burns at rest, but you don't want it to be so extreme that it makes it difficult to adhere to. So what I recommend is I'm going to give you kind of like 5 tips I think I have. We kind of already did one of them. So the caloric deficit is one, and then other tips so that it's easier to stay in that caloric deficit. So first thing is actually protein. So we hear protein is really important, and it really is. It really, really is. But particularly with weight loss, because when you're losing weight, we want to make sure you're losing fat loss and not muscle mass. And so we want to make sure you preserve your muscle. So it's important to have enough protein to do that. Also, when you eat more protein, you'll probably feel a lot more full and it's a lot easier. So I encourage at least 20 to 30 grams of protein at each meal. And then we could also argue some people prefer doing 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day. I think 3 meals a day is a good start. Some people prefer 5 to 6 meals a day. It really goes back to what's best for you. But in general, I would say for you to get all of the nutrients that your body needs and to kind of keep your hunger cues in check, it's probably good to start with 3 meals a day and making sure you have at least 20, depends obviously on your age, your gender, your exercise activity, but 20 to 30s, and then upwards to 40 or 50 grams of protein at each meal, depending on what your individualized needs are. So protein is really important. So choosing lean proteins like chicken, fish, even sirloin steaks. So like certain like lean cuts of beef are fine. Pork chops are fine. We just want to limit the processed meats because the processed meats tend to have a little bit more of the fat. They're not such a great protein rich quality. So that's really important. And then if you're vegetarian or vegan, you can do like soy, tofu, tempeh, edamame, stuff like that. The other thing you want to focus on is fiber. Fiber is what keeps you full. So if you don't have enough fiber, you're going to feel really hungry all the time, similar to the protein. So it's easier to stay in a caloric deficit when you feel satisfied and you feel full. So foods that are rich in fiber are actually lots of your whole grain carbohydrates. So a big myth with weight loss is I have to cut out carbs. And that's not the case. We want to be mindful of where we're getting in those excess carbohydrates. So the refined carbohydrates from things like, soda and candy and cookies and donuts and muffins and all of those things, and really make sure that the carbs that we're getting are a high fiber source. So things like oatmeal, quinoa, sweet potatoes, any potato really, as long as the skin's intact, adding things like flax seeds and chia seeds to our meals, and that's going to help keep us fuller. The other thing we want to make sure is we're staying hydrated with water. Water also, it's 0 calories, and it actually can also help keep us feeling full. So sometimes we think we're hungry when we're really just thirsty. So making sure you're taking half of your body weight. So, and this is in pounds. So I know some people listen and they weigh themselves in kilograms. So it's actually kind of already done for you. So your weight in pounds divided by 2 is the total fluid ounces of water you need per day. So if you weigh yourself in kilograms, then you take your body weight in kilograms, and that's the total of number of fluid ounces of water you need per day. And that's the minimum. As you exercise, you might want to increase that. Or if you're in places with hot temperatures or sweating a lot, you're probably going to want to increase that. So lots of water, protein, and fiber. Those are kind of like the biggest things. And then the last thing I will just say is incorporating all food groups. So very common, people who try to lose weight, they'll restrict an entire food group. And although we think that's great because it'll help us keep us in the caloric deficit, it gives us some sort of restriction and guideline. The only thing you should really avoid are foods that you are allergic to, sensitive to, or intolerant to. Other than that, all food groups should be there. And we just want to make sure we're choosing healthy sources of each. So when it comes to our proteins, we want to choose lean proteins and using healthy cooking methods like baking, grilling, and broiling. When it comes to our carbohydrates, we want to do whole grain, whole starch, starchy vegetables, sorts of carbs, lots of and then your non-starchy vegetables, making sure we're eating, enough of those. And then when it comes to your fats, we want to try to choose ones that are more liquid at room temperature, or things like fish that carry healthy fats like omega-3s. And honestly, if you think about it, the overall um, nutrition plan is for weight loss isn't much different than your general recommendations to everybody else. It's just a lot easier when you follow those recommendations to stay in that caloric deficit, because you're going to feel more full, you're going to feel more satisfied, you're not going to feel deprived when you allow all food groups to fit. And yeah, that's it. That's the that's the secrets of fat loss. And just ending, it's really all about consistency. So going back to what Ryan said, and Justin was saying he prefers certain types of workouts, and all of these workouts are great and amazing, but you need to find the one that fits best for you, that you look forward to, that you're excited to do. Same thing with your meals. You don't want to be bored of your food. You want to make sure that it's something that is exciting. So that's why increasing your variety and trying new foods and trying new recipes and different combos of foods are going to be more likely to not only lose the weight but keep it off.
As I always say, it's less important what you do and more important that you do.
Yes,
So.
good one.
And just my layman's way of looking at it with both the exercise and the diet, I find it very hard to do either when I'm not doing both, if that makes any sense. Right?
People are different with that, though, I will say.
So people are different. Absolutely.
I would say a lot of people are like you, where the more they exercise, the more they eat better, and they tend to complement each other. But then I've worked with people who, the more they exercise, the more poor their diet is. They almost feel like they can justify it, or maybe they're over exercising and now that's where their cravings come up, or they feel like they can get away with it. And then, sometimes focusing on good nutrition is just, I don't know, for whatever reason, then they feel like they just, I don't know, it's just too much, I guess, to do it at one time. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
Well, look, if I'm exercising heavily, definitely there will be bouts of that where I eat something very unhealthy within that. But for the most part, I'm eating healthy. So, and probably at some point I'm going to eat something unhealthy anyway. So in general, I'm in my better state. And, I throw something in that I could probably go without. But in general, I'm eating healthy for the most part, and I'm exercising a lot more. So that's always what's worked best for me when I do both. And they feed into each other. Not to mention the fact that my exercise or whatever I'm doing is more efficient, is better when I'm eating healthy. Obviously, and that's a different discussion, is what is the better diet for fueling your workouts. But that's just my layman 2 cents.
Yeah, no, that's super helpful. Everyone needs to hear that, I think.
Ryan?
Awesome.
No, not much to add. Yeah, no, it's not. No, it sounds. I mean, not much to add on my end. I think the caloric deficit's important, and consistency is important, and doing something that's sustainable is important.
And I'll actually add to that, because what I didn't say is and Justin, you made a good point. When you're eating healthy, you eat well. I mean, when you're exercising, you eat healthy pretty often, and then occasionally you might not have a great meal, but then you go right back to it. And so I will say that if we're going to be doing this consistently, all those recommendations are great, but just because you have a day where it doesn't exactly look like that, or even a meal, I actually encourage occasionally, when you're craving something that maybe is fried or has sugar, have it. Just make sure that that doesn't mean that now you're having, the whole you're getting extra large, and then it leads to ordering something else and then ordering something else. So like check in with yourself, like try to fuel yourself and using those guidelines. But when those occasional cravings come up, don't deprive yourself, because the deprivation is what leads to the weight regain.
Yeah, and just so that you guys know, I've gotten fat.
Oh, stop it, Justin.
Well, no, I have though. Like I have a Tony doesn't like that language. But I mean, look, the truth of the matter is, and it goes hand in hand. I haven't been able to go to do kickboxing. I haven't had access to a gym. I don't like working out at home, and for that reason, I'm not eating well. Right. So I'm home all day. I'm not eating terribly, but I'm not eating well. I'm eating a lot more desserts and sweets than I normally do. It's not terrible. My diet isn't terrible, but it's not great. Right. And and a lot of it is due to the fact that I'm just home all day. So I don't snack. So I don't just like pick up a bag of chips and start eating. But my meal, like I don't have the will to be healthy all the time, because especially I'm not exercising, I'm not living my life. So that, I thought that maybe that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get out of New York and get down to Nashville for a little bit. I thought maybe there, just to change the scenery, will help me snap back into it. So, I got a bigger gut than I've had in a long time. So I want to get rid of it.
Is your gym in Nashville closed, or they?
They said I don't know about the MMA gym, but I know that the other gym that I'm joining. I only have a few months membership left, but they said that they're opening. I think they said they open June 1st.
Okay.
So
wow.
Well, that might help. I don't know. But I'm just hoping to get back down there. Plus, not to mention the fact that there's when I'm down in Nashville, there's going to be no pizza. So,
although you got hot chicken to contend with, which is
I don't love that though.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a huge hot chicken. Right. Yeah. I don't love, like, look, once in a while I like, soul food, fried soul chicken and soul, like stuff like that, and biscuits. I mean, who doesn't? But I don't love that so much. But when I'm on the Upper West Side and I'm 2 blocks from Sal and Carmine's, it's just like, that's too easy to go every day. And
are they open?
Yeah,
they are.
Some days randomly they're closed,
but
they're open for the most part, and their pizza's better than ever. So I'm just like, damn,
that good.
Damn,
it's almost worth going out there just to get a slice from Sal and Carmine's. All right. Well, so we've got one more thing. Actually, I have an interesting study, which was dealing with weight vests for fat loss. So it was the University of Gothenburg. I'm probably not pronouncing that, but that was what the study was out of. And so basically there was so it used 69 people with the BMI of 30 to 35, so overweight. So they had to wear a weight vest for 8 hours a day, 3 days a week, for 3 weeks, and then otherwise live life like they normally would. And so there were 2 groups. The control group had a 1 kilogram weight vest, and while the other participants had an 11 kilogram weight vest. So obviously it's a pretty significant difference. And so what they found was after the 3 weeks, the group with the 11 kilogram weight vest lost 1.6 kilograms of weight, versus the control group, which lost 0.3 kilograms. And they found that they reduced fat while the muscle stayed the same. And so they're wondering, is the body kind of attempting to maintain it, like kind of homeostasis, or not? Like, is it kind of like the idea behind the study is like, does the body kind of have a weight that it wants to get to stay at, and will it get back down there? And so obviously, like, there's, it's relatively small, and there are a lot of other questions like, was it just the increased energy expenditure from wearing the weight vest? Was it, were there any other changes? But I just thought it was a little fairly interesting to see, like, that they, otherwise normal life, and immediately, like, the body's like, all right, gotta lose weight, gotta drop down.
That is interesting.
Of course, like, what you don't want is people then to think, oh, I can just wear a weight vest. That's the problem, is like, that's what people will take out of it, is like, oh, I'm just gonna wear a weight vest all day and I'll lose weight.
The question is, obviously, did they change their diet at all? And
no, there were no other. So, that's where it's fairly small. So it's basically like just wear a weight vest and live life like you normally do.
Well, but I mean, not for nothing. We just talked about when you could argue that's kind of like resistance training. Like they're carrying more weight. So like they are building more muscle, or at least preserving their muscle and not losing. I don't know. Like, I guess you could argue that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, no, so that's where it's like one of those, okay, we got an interesting result. Now it needs more follow-up studies.
Yeah.
So one question about the study. How long did they do this for?
It was just 3 weeks.
All right. So, well, here's the thing. And when you mentioned the homeostasis, like it's the classic, whenever you do anything different, you always have results in the short term, right? So yeah, I could totally see your body burning calories because it's carrying around more weight. That's not in your, that's not actually in you. But once again, the question is going to be how long until your body adjusts to that, and whatever calories it's burning just stops or becomes negligent.
Exactly. Yeah. No. So that's why
you would really need to see that over a larger period of time.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, you need a larger group and a longer period of time, and other variables kind of controlled for, because, in this case, still, it's like it was kind of like, here's a weight vest, go on your day. Where, there's a lot of other questions, but it just kind of produced an interesting result that then, again, leads them to other studies. Like, what if we control the diet? What if we, any number of things. So, it's kind of one of the interesting studies for the week.
Nice.
And I guess that's it. You guys have anything else to share?
Nope.
That's it. Long episode.
Yeah. We've been hitting about an hour each time, actually. Funny.
That's good.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. I'm Ryan George.
I'm Justin Guild, aka Chef Son. Wait, Ryan, where can everyone find us?
Oh. All right, so everyone can find us at thegymwits.com. We're on social media, we're on Instagram, Facebook. Like us, review us. That's the best thing you can do is sign, go onto Apple Podcasts and take a couple minutes, leave us a review, helps us out a lot. And that is it. I'm Ryan George.
I'm Justin Guild, aka Chef Sonic, reminding you that truth does not sell.
And I'm Tony Marinici, aka Tips with Tony, your registered dietitian.
And we are the GymWits.